Now on the CTV News at 5, more evidence that the cost of living continues to rise across Alberta. Plus, the Prime Minister announces more major projects for the country. And with the warm fall, what are reservoir levels like?
Telling your stories. CTV News Lethbridge with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. We're glad you could join us. The latest numbers from the Alberta Living Wage Network shows the affordability crisis isn't getting any better. There's also a growing gap between the living wage and Alberta's minimum wage. Quinn Keenan has more.
Lethbridge's living wage is now $22.30 an hour, up 11.5% from last year. Lethbridge has the 10th highest living wage among the 21 communities tracked. Increased housing, transportation, and childcare costs were some of the biggest factors.
A number of things added up, so things like transportation, food, housing, so we saw a close to 20% increase in housing, childcare.
The living wage is the amount of money someone needs to earn to cover their expenses and participate in their community. Some employers, like the Interfaith Food Bank, are certified living wage employers. That means every employee earns a living wage through a combination of their wage and benefits.
You know what, more than anything, we need to put our money where our mouth is. We're an anti-poverty organization, so we need to make sure that we are practicing what we preach.
Living wage now far outpaces Alberta's $15 an hour minimum wage. The minimum wage was the highest in the country when it was introduced in 2018. Since then, it's become the lowest.
Certainly that is a big gap between that and the living wage of $7.30. In Alberta, we have about 16,000 families that are supporting a child under 18 that are being paid a minimum wage.
Poverty reduction advocates say this shows a significant amount of work needs to be done to help the most vulnerable in our communities.
Certainly an increase in minimum wage would help, as well as having more affordable housing units would make a difference. And so if we can see our governments working together to support affordable housing, that would make a world of difference.
Jasper had the highest living wage at $31.80. Medicine Hat, meanwhile, has the lowest with $18.15. Quinn Keenan, CTV News, Lethbridge.
A big announcement from the Prime Minister today on 6 major projects for fast-tracking, including mining in Ontario and New Brunswick and power in BC. CTV's Mike Lecouture has the details on the second series of nation-building projects.
They are part of nation-building strategies to transform our economies.
The Prime Minister says the transformation is necessary because it's estimated U.S. tariffs and the accompanying uncertainty will cost the Canadian government $50 billion. It's why one of the projects supported by the federal government is a BC liquefied natural gas facility.
Silesums will become Canada's second largest LNG facility with a capacity to export 12 million tons of LNG every year to new markets.
In addition to that facility, the second round of projects includes a hydroelectric development project in Iqaluit, the Sisson Mine project in New Brunswick, the Crawford Nickel Mine project in northern Ontario, the North Coast Transmission Line in northwestern BC, and the Nouveau Monde Graphite Mine north of Montreal. All of them at various stages of development. And the head of the Major Projects Office says her role will be to speed up the process.
Our job is all about making sure that people get across the line, get everything they need to get built on time and on budget.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre says the new federal office is part of the problem.
He's created yet another bureaucracy, a new bureaucratic hurdle for miners and oil and gas enterprises and other resource companies to jump through in order to get anything approved.
While the goal is to make Canada less reliant on trade with the U.S., some researchers say governments need to look beyond the current trade issues.
We need to think about what's going to happen with that land after mining's finished. What post-mining land uses could be secured there.
In addition to the 6 projects, the federal office will implement a strategy to improve infrastructure in an area between BC and Yukon, also known as the Northwest Critical Conservation Corridor. Mike Lecouture, CTV News, Ottawa.
The Transportation Safety Board is now investigating a plane crash at the Medicine Hat Regional Airport. Emergency crews were called for a small private plane on the runway around 2:30 yesterday afternoon. Officials say the aircraft landed too early, coming to rest in the grass. Police say 2 people were on board, but nobody was hurt. The runway was closed for about 2 hours, delaying a flight from Calgary. And 2 people have been arrested, and firearms and drugs have been seized by officers in Medicine Hat. The Alberta Law Enforcement Response Team's organized crime team worked with Medicine Hat Police Service to execute searches at 2 homes in Riverside and North Flats on November the 7th. Officers seized fentanyl, methamphetamine, and cocaine with an estimated street value of $67,000. They also found 3 guns loaded, 2 loaded sawed-off shotguns, and another firearm which had previously been reported stolen. 41-year-old Wendy Scott and 43-year-old Carrie Sims each face multiple charges, including possession of drugs for the purpose of trafficking. All right, Danielle Savoni, temperatures may be nice, but it is windy.
Yeah, to get into the 20s at this time of year is pretty exceptional. It came at a price, though, as you know. You were outside, you felt this, or even if you weren't outside, you heard it on the walls. 80-kilometer-per-hour gusts in Lethbridge, that was the max, and 93 has been the max so far in Pincher Creek. For the far southwest corner, there is a wind warning in place. 100-kilometer-per-hour gusts still possible for the next couple of hours before things fully start to quiet down. And when I say quiet down, we'll quiet down a little on the winds, but we have other things to talk about and deal with for tomorrow. We are sitting at 20 degrees, mainly cloudy in Lethbridge, also 20 in Milk River, and close to that in Brooks. Above that in Medicine Hat at 21. We'll talk about the snow that's in the forecast for some communities tomorrow. Coming up, Jackie.
All right, thanks, Danielle. Well, there is a bit of precipitation in the forecast for this weekend. It has been a relatively dry fall, which has brought water levels in southern Alberta's reservoirs down. Now, despite the slight below average capacity at the Oldman Reservoir, there is still optimism a snowy winter will bring levels back up to normal. Carson Marsouk reports.
The dry fall across southern Alberta hasn't sparked much concern for those in the water industry.
We're actually not sitting too bad in terms of our water levels in the Oldman Reservoir. We are sitting at 54% full. It's below normal, and it's also about 5% below last year at this time. Last year at this time, we were at 59%.
Average for this time of the year is about 60%.
Temperatures that we've seen up to now, generally speaking, have been above normal almost consistently since August.
Which has contributed to the decrease in current capacity. Environment Canada says southern Alberta will experience a mild and wet winter.
The water level is lower than I would like to have seen it, but the province and the irrigation companies, they're not concerned at this point with where our reserves are at.
Heading into winter, he says all Mother Nature needs to do now is snow.
We're optimistic and we're hopeful going into winter, and if we can get a good, even a normal snowpack this winter, it sets us up quite well for spring and this next year.
But exactly how much snow will fall is still unknown, because Environment Canada says it's still too early to predict.
As is often the case, we have equal chance across, well, most of the country this time. So it means it could go either way. We don't know if it'll be above normal, near normal, or below normal amounts of precipitation.
Carson Marsouk, CTV News, Lethbridge.
Throughout the winter, the city is asking residents to conserve water as much as possible. The city also plans to announce new incentive programs for water conservation in the spring. And the City of Lethbridge is accepting applications for funding to strengthen community well-being. The grants are open to individuals, nonprofit organizations, and for-profit organizations looking to help address gaps in community well-being. More than $5 million of funding is available through the province, federal government, and City of Lethbridge projects, and initiatives can be focused on homelessness, promoting healthy lifestyles, and local social support development programs.
We're hopeful that there are programs that exist today that will be able to apply and take their programming to the next level, but we're also really excited to hopefully see new groups and new initiatives brought forward. Again, recognizing that the needs of our community are in a constant state of change. we want to make sure that the programs and the funding that we're putting out reflect the needs of the community today.
Applications are open until March 2026, with funding for the projects being distributed in 2027 and 2028. The University of Lethbridge is paying tribute to a Canadian country music legend. The university's library is now home to the Ian Tyson reading area. The area is filled with books that were donated by Tyson's estate following his death in 2022. Tyson was a Southern Alberta icon, being raised and later ranched in Longview. He also received an honorary doctorate from the U of L in 2015. There for the opening was Tyson's friend and fellow country star, Corb Lund, and Lund is happy to see Tyson's collection of Western and country books have stayed together.
Lots of feelings. It's really cool, first of all, because I was hoping that I would not lose access to these books. But I spent a lot of time in his living room leafing through this stuff.
Ian has a history with the university. He received an honorary degree here in 2015. He also played at the university's 40th anniversary, so he does have a connection to the university.
The reading area is open to university students with a student card. Anyone with a Lethbridge Public Library card can get access to the university library. A Southern Alberta couple is taking home a big chunk of change ahead of the holidays thanks to a lottery win. Carolyn and Gregory Honus from Lomond won $100,000 on the Western Max and Extra draw. Carolyn says she checked the ticket at the store, then went outside to get Greg, who thought she was joking. The couple is taking some time to decide what to do with the money. They bought the $3 ticket at the 7-Eleven on Mayor McGrath Drive South in Lethbridge. Well, we're in for a big change in the forecast. Danielle is back with those details right after this break. Also, we look at how studying speech could detect diseases like dementia.
Your sky cam facing northwest. We've had mainly cloudy skies today. We've had very windy conditions today, and that boosted the temperatures up significantly. I mean, come on, look at this time of year. We're in, November. We have temperatures in the 20s in some spots, especially in the far south. It's something. 16 degrees is the daytime high so far in Calgary, just 1 in Edmonton. So you can see what those Chinook winds have been doing to us in the south just from this map here. Out east, they've been dealing with some cooler temperatures, but they're starting to get a little warmer. It's 4 in Ottawa, 5 in Fredericton, 6 in St. John's. Okay, right here, closer to home. Now down to 18, Lethbridge, Brooks, Drumheller, still in the 20s. In Medicine Hat, most communities did see temperatures in the 20s, especially communities in this southeast corner here. So we've had some heat today. We've had some wind today, 93 kilometers per hour. That's the max so far in Pincher Creek, 80 in Lethbridge. And we could reach that 100 kilometer per hour gust before the day is all said and done. There's still the wind warning in place. I'm going to show you that here. There we have the wind warning in place, not in Lethbridge, but areas Pincher Creek, Crosness Pass, Waterton Lakes National Park. These areas under the wind warning for the next few hours, and then that will likely end by the midnight hour. And up to the north, well, we're going to have a system track in. It's going to be mainly concentrated over Banff, K-Country, and up to Jasper. And these areas could see some isolated areas, high elevations, up to 30 centimeters of snow from this because it will be consistently falling. Not Banff Town Site. Banff Town Site is looking at just a couple of centimeters. All right, so there's that system packed with moisture. The mountains will be eating most of that moisture up, but some of it will make its way over. The models have been changing about how much is going to make it to the far south. So this is the most likely scenario now. So as you can see, it'll be concentrated in the Banff, Canmore area. And then we're going to have some creep in late tonight, mainly in the form of rainfall though, because we're going to be warm enough when we get this, still above that freezing mark. And then when we look at the early morning hours, we'll have a wave of this reach Calgary. It may actually die out before it tracks down to the far south, but there's still the potential of rain, some snowfall, even some freezing rain mixed in with that light as we go through tomorrow. And we may even see a little bit of this early Friday morning. You can see this little light band here. Nothing significant though, but it may be a quick little burst in some isolated areas, and then things clear out for Saturday afternoon, even the clouds. All right, for tomorrow, East Kootenay area, gusts southeast 50 kilometers per hour till about 2 in the morning. Tomorrow, showers are likely and a high of 7 degrees. Crow's Nest Pass, rain, 10 millimeters likely for tonight, and then another 5 possible tomorrow with another couple centimeters of snow is certainly likely in the early morning hours. 6 degrees as the high. Medicine Hat, gusty still until 2 in the morning. Small chance of seeing any sort of precipitation tomorrow with a high of 5. And similar thing goes for Lethbridge, 50K gusts, a high of 5, and a small chance of some mixed precipitation. But you can see we get warmer again for Saturday and Sunday, and the sun returns.
A new study is looking at how subtle cues in our speech can indicate brain health. As our health reporter Pauline Chan tells us, that could someday allow for earlier detection of diseases like dementia.
How was that new movie you saw last night? It was, sorry, what was I saying? Right, yes, the movie, it was good. The one with the actor, what's his name? You know, this is an example of the kind of conversation being analyzed by the researchers. The speaker struggles to find the right words.
So one thing is just speech rate. People slow down, and there's also pausing and fillers like and putting all that together, it turns out to be quite a sensitive index of mental capacity.
The study is one of the first to show a direct link between casual speech patterns and essential cognitive functions. More than 200 adult participants were asked to describe complex pictures while also completing standard tests of executive function. Baycrest senior scientist Jed Melser used AI to help analyze recordings of what they said.
We're very interested in speech as a marker of cognitive health because there are a lot of applications for which we want to study cognitive decline.
Unlike drug testing, which is difficult to repeat frequently over time, he says,
speech is a promising alternative because it's sensitive to changes in brain health.
Researchers hope this will eventually become an easy and accurate way to track cognitive decline in both normal aging as well as diseases like dementia.
People often ask me, you know, should I do crossword puzzles? Should I learn a language? And I say those things help, but not nearly as much as a bit of physical exercise. That's probably the number one thing you can do for your brain.
Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Still ahead on the CTV News at 5. It's time to start thinking about the Lethbridge Sport Council's Achievement Awards. Stay with us. Lethbridge Hurricanes started their BC road trip last night, and for the first time in franchise history, they matched up against the Penticton Vees. Luke Cousins kept his hot streak going, scoring his 13th of the year midway through the first to open the scoring. Now, early in the second, Gavin Lesiuk finds the puck in tight and bangs it home to make it 2-0. After Penticton got one back, Logan Wormold has a shot trickle into the net to make it a 2-goal game again. The Vees would again make it a 1-game goal. But early in the third, Matteo Fabrizi fires the puck top corner for his first of the season, and Lethbridge would add an empty netter as they win 5-2. Lethbridge Sports Council is looking for nominees for its annual 16th Achievement Awards. Athletes, coaches, and officials will be recognized and honored for their significant contributions through sports in Lethbridge. This year's awards include 4 categories, which are athletic performance, sport excellence, leadership, and spirit in sport. Anyone affiliated with a Lethbridge sport organization, trains in the city, or is a resident is eligible. The deadline for nominations is January 31st. Hockey legend Wayne Gretzky is opening up about the backlash he received for not defending Canada after his friend, U.S. President Donald Trump, said he wanted to make us the 51st state. Now, Gretzky told the 100% Hockey podcast it's not his place to weigh in on politics.
So I can't stop the prime minister for saying something. I can't stop the president for saying something. I just kind of like, well, I'm just a hockey player, simple as that.
Back in February, when Gretzky was introduced as the honorary captain for Team Canada during the NHL Four Nations tournament, he was criticized on social media for not wearing a Team Canada jersey and not speaking out against Trump's comments.
You know, I don't know how many people move to the U.S., whether it's business, entertainment, hockey, and I don't know the exact number, but I would tell you that over 90% of them become American citizens. I never became an American citizen. I'm Canadian.
The great one says he is and will always be a proud Canadian. More than 100 soccer players have been slapped with temporary bans, and at least 150 referees are implicated in a widespread betting scandal inside Turkey. The ban, which includes 25 players from the country's top league, range from 45 days to a year. Turkey's third and fourth tier leagues have been shut down for 2 weeks. The investigation alleges referees and players bet on games, which is prohibited by World Soccer body FIFA. Still ahead on the CTV News at 5, a BC couple's whale of a tale when we return. A couple from Vancouver recently had an unexpected visitor. A giant whale stopped outside their house on the island for a swim. And as they scrambled to catch the rare visit on camera, things got a little bit silly. CTV's Adam Sawatsky explains.
It's too big for a sea lion.
After glancing out their front window, Kathy Johnson and Peter Miris noted something unusual on the surface of the water.
Peter yelled, "Whale, it's got to be a whale," and he took off, as he does.
He grabbed a video camera, jumped in his boots, and ran down to the dock.
Kept looking, and suddenly this whale pops up, and I immediately go oh my God.
So Peter kept recording, attempting to capture footage at the other end of the dock, but by the time he reached it, the whale had already turned around. So Peter started running back to where he started.
Basically did a dive onto the dock, stuck my hand as deep as I could with the camera running into the water.
By the time Peter had captured this, Kathy had climbed up to the bow of the boat to offer direction.
And the whale would show up, and then I would say, "He's going this way." Peter would jump up and run to the other end of the dock and do the same thing again.
For almost 30 minutes, Peter and the whale kept going back and forth together.
Each time I was running like a madman, and in my head I had the Benny Hill music going.
So Peter ended up editing the footage like the British comedian might have, by adding a suitable soundtrack.
It was really funny. I actually wondered if the whale was kind of snickering behind his fin. Peter will not anthropomorphize the animals, but I will.
Whether the humpback found all this as humorous as the humans or not, Peter and Kathy agree. This whale of a tale is one they'll never forget.
Just amazement, respect. So it's a big animal, but it's so gentle and it's so aware of you being there.
We're all in this world together, and it's a good reminder that it's not us and them, it's all of us together.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News.
Thank you for sharing this time with us. Now here's the early edition of the CTV National News.